Hello students, I am Marco Severo. This is the Marketing Analytics course. We are working with the Hollywood movies dataset. In the last lecture, I have shown you how to select some cases inside that entire dataset. And now we restricted the sample to the Big Six studios. And we are starting to work with some descriptive statistics in this lecture. So, I have developed 3 research questions of this data challenge that we are going to follow. The first question is, which studio generated the highest domestic gross revenue? The second is, which studio generated the highest foreign gross revenue? And the third research question is if the studio is the same in both cases. I also developed this Word document, which is going to help us when we start generating the results. So these are the 6 big studios, the 6 major ones: Sony, Paramount, Disney, Warner Bros., Universal, and Fox. And we are going to generate the mean values and the median values from the domestic and the foreign gross revenue, and I'm going to try to discuss why we are going to generate mean and median values and the implications for the distribution of data. We are basically talking about median and mean values right now with this data set. And why gross revenue? Because we are talking about performance. Always when we discussed about marketing analytics, we want to understand what happens to performance and what are the implications to performance when you take marketing decisions. Okay, so let me go back to my folder. So this is the Big Six only data that we restricted in the last lecture. If you recall, this is the text file where I have the names for the Big Six studios. So there is a string variable, and it is called lead studio. And the value 1 is for Sony, the value 2 is for Paramount, and then Disney, Warner Bros., Universal, and Fox. I'm going to open the data set. So this is the data set. We have a bit more than 500 cases, and if I click here, double click, so the movie number 1 was filmed by Disney, the second and third ones was filmed by Paramount, and so forth. And we are working with these 2 variables, so domestic gross revenue and the foreign gross revenue. So the first thing I'm going to do, first I'm going to show you how and why we are using mean and median values. So if I double click on the domestic gross revenue with my mouse and I select frequency distribution, and then you click on OK, I'm going to have a look at the frequency distribution of the domestic gross revenue, and this is clearly an asymmetric distribution. This is very common for marketing variables such as price, revenue, and so forth. So this is basically expected. And I am not working with an symmetric distribution. So this is clearly an asymmetric distribution, and let me show you how, and let me show you why. If I click with my right button again, and I'll select frequency distribution, and if you test against the normal distribution, we are going to see this is the area for the theoretical normal distribution, and this is the asymmetric empirical distribution. This is a hypothesis test that is testing our data against the normal distribution. I am rejecting the null hypothesis, so this is clearly a non-normal, non-symmetric distribution. What is the implication for that? Well, in symmetric distribution, mean and median values converge to the center of the distribution, but in this case, it is not. So we are working with mean and median values because they are different. And I want to understand and generate insights about these central values of these variables. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, remember the text file with the code for the variable. We are going to work with Sony, only Sony. So you go back to Gretl, sample, restrict based on criterion, and you're going to put lead studio equals 1. When I click on OK, I'm going to work with only the movies filmed by Sony, okay? So it's dropped more than 400 observations. I'm going to close. And then in domestic gross revenue, I'm going to click with the right button on it and click on summary statistics. So now I have the mean, okay, and the median value. So I'm going to take note on that and compare with the other studios. So the mean is 68.28. The median is 55.41. This is the domestic gross revenue. And I'm going to do the same thing with the foreign gross revenue. So I'm going to click with my right button, of my mouse right button, and summary statistics. So the mean is 102. And the median, 48.6. What are the first conclusions I have with this data set? Okay, so for Sony is generating more gross revenue for external markets, external to the US, than the domestic market. Okay, so this is 102.24. And in both cases, the mean is higher than the median value. Okay, I'm not going to discuss the differences between the mean and median right now. It's two central values of the distribution, and this is basic descriptive statistics. And I'm going to compare with the other studios to answer to my data challenge research questions. Okay, so I'm going to close this. Okay, and I come back here and go to sample, restore full range, and I'm going to work with Paramount, which is the value number 2 for my string code variable. So I'm going to click here on sample, restrict, and then lead studio equals 2, and click on OK. I'm going to close. Now I'm working with 81 movies from Paramount in the data set. If I click here, I'm going to see only Paramount, see? Only Paramount movies. And then I'm going to observe the mean and median values for these two variables, domestic and foreign gross revenue. So there is a different and alternative option. If you don't want to go here and click with the right button, you just go on view, summary statistics, okay? So I'm going to click on domestic and gross, click on this arrow and click on OK. And show main statistics. So I have here, okay? So the mean for Paramount is 103.1. The median is 77.59. And for foreign, 127. And the median, 79.30. And now let's going to do with every single studio in the data set. So I'm going to restore, and now you know the entire procedure. So I'm going to sample, restrict, lead studio equals 3, okay. And now I'm working with Disney, okay. So summary statistics, domestic and foreign, okay. So 135.4. Okay. Now I'm going to work with Warner. So we have to restore and restrict again, but now with the value number 4, okay? Now universal. So restore, restrict, lead studio equals 5. Domestic and foreign. Click on OK. And the last one is Fox. Restore, restrict. $77. And 66.87. So now I have generated the descriptive statistics, and now as a marketing manager, I am able to compare things and analyze performance in a descriptive way. So let's go back to the research questions, and they are: first one, which studio generated the highest domestic gross revenue? So we're talking about the domestic. So put on yellow right here. Okay, which one exhibits the highest domestic gross revenue? In terms of the mean value, it is Disney, right? Okay, in 135 million dollars they generated in the alongside the years. And if you want to condition that, okay, Marcos, so you have different numbers of movies. I'm going to divide this. I'm going to create an index and divide this by the number of movies that they filmed inside the sample. Okay, you just have to divide by this number over here. So in this case, if I'm not wrong, is the Fox. So Fox, they filmed 91 movies. So this number may be different depending on the studio you are working with. But in nominal values, Disney generated the highest mean value. And if we analyze, because it's an asymmetric distribution, if we analyze the median values, Disney is also in the lead. Okay, this when we refer in the domestic market. So now we're going to analyze the foreign market, so the external market, and now I'm going to put this in purple. So in the case for foreign markets, Disney also took the lead with more than $200 million. It is the only one that is above $2 million, and it is followed by Fox. No, not Fox, but then Warner Brothers is the second one, 1,046,000, and then Fox. And then others like Paramount and etc. So Disney leads the U.S. market and also leads the foreign, the external market in terms of gross revenue. So it's the best performance in this market if we analyze only nominal values related to performance. Okay, so answering the third question, if the studio is the same, yes. Okay, it's the same. We were talking about Disney, right? So I finished the lecture with this analysis, but you can go further on that because we are analyzing. Have a look here. Let me go back. We are analyzing from the year 2007. From 2007 to 2013, we are analyzing 6 years, and I advise you trying to analyze this by ear and to see if this pattern reproduces conditional on ears. Okay? Thank you very much. Please leave your comments. I'll be more than happy to answer and to help and to assist you. Thank you very much.